P9 back with another one. Guys, I'm here in Franklin, Kentucky. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this vlog, I want to start out with this really nice, dope sculpture or historical artifact, I should say. This is the Hudspeth Well, replica built in 1968 by F.S. Young historians and Robert Taylor. So as you can see right here, these were the ones that built this replica of the Hudspeth Well. And they did this in memory of Karen Lee Martin Medley. The second replica of the Hudspeth Well was installed by the Franklin Garden Club in 2019, the bicentennial year of Simpson County, which is where Franklin County is located. Let's get into it, shall we? Good morning, good people. This is P9 with another vlog, and I am here in the city of Franklin, Kentucky, which is the seat of Simpson County in southern Kentucky. Franklin was incorporated by the State Assembly in 1820 on 62 acres of land that was purchased from William Hudspeth and named for the founding father, Benjamin Franklin. So Franklin, Kentucky is named after Benjamin Franklin. And this is the county courthouse of Simpson County, built in 1882. So the original courthouse was burned down in that same year. So 1882 was when the first courthouse of Simpson County burned down. This one was built to replace it. And 80 years later, these wings were added to the courthouse. Now the population of Franklin is actually bigger than I thought it was. So a little over 10,000 residents live in Franklin. So it's a pretty nice size city on the southern end of the state. So this is the courthouse square. It's a lot of boutiques, a couple law offices over here. It's a marker of Beverly L. Clark, who was born in Virginia 1809 and came to Simpson County in 1827 and studied law under noted Kentucky lawyer George Robertson. Served in the Kentucky legislature and U.S. Congress, and was a delegate to the Kentucky Constitutional Convention in 1849, and also a minister to Guatemala till his death in 1860. So state legislature authorized reinterment in the Frankfort Cemetery in 1868. So this is Beverly L. Clark. So we're going to take a walk around the courthouse square, which composes of downtown. And that's pretty cool right here. They have this nice fancy little gazebo. It's pretty nice. Surrounded by nice shrubbery, nice plants. And you get a nice view of the rear of the courthouse. Franklin Presbyterian Church right over here. So instead of a red light right here, traffic light, they have a stop sign, four-way stop sign. Pretty interesting, pretty cool. And this is Franklin First United Methodist Church right over here. So right now I'm on South College Street. This is the corner of College Street and West Cedar Street. More historical buildings over in this end. Right across over here, there's a service center called Donald's, the far end. But right directly across the street is the Brickyard Cafe. Getting ready to walk over there to that side. You know. But yep, Brickyard Cafe over here. Then they have the Cedars Flowers. Have a donut shop over there as well. We go over here to this crosswalk across the street. Best donuts. Now check this out. They have in July they have a Mary Poppins Broadway musical at the Library Auditorium. Good Night Library Auditorium. That's pretty cool. Mary Poppins musical. Hello. So I believe this is City Hall right here. Yeah, this is Regions Bank. Yep, this is City Hall. Franklin City Hall. So it's not a freestanding building, but it's kind of like in these cluster buildings right over here. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Rushing builders. So you hear that bell? Sounds like that bell is either coming from a church or it's coming from the courthouse, but it sounds like it's coming from the courthouse. Simpson County Tourism Commission right over here. Oh, check this out. They even got this little kiosk thing right here. You can go over here, click on it, and tell you what type of events are going on. You can scan your QR code. They tell you about all the art that Franklin has. Franklin has a vibrant art scene that reflects the town's charm and creativity. You can scan the QR code and find out about the art scene, tourism info. So yeah, you can come over here. There's you know, they also have inside, they have brochures, maps, and attraction information, as well as as well as lodging for the hotels if you're thinking about staying in the area. So if you're browsing around downtown Franklin, you can look up a lot of this stuff online before the trip, or you can come here and browse the little kiosks. I think that's pretty cool that they have that. That's the first time I've seen that in any of my vlogs. Any of the times I've ever vlogged, that's the first time I saw something like that. So shout out to the Simpson County Tourism Commission. It's pretty dope. They have that. But over here on Main Street, and they have this historic Roxy museum, or not museum, Roxy Theater. Now the Roxy Theater, an Art Deco style, was built in 1938. but it now functions as an event center and concert hall. And this is another historic landmark here in Franklin, the Main Street Diner. Plenty of shade over here. And right over there, it looks like the library, the Goodnight Memorial Library at the corner, where they'll be having that Mary Poppins event, the musical. So that's cool. And it's also this restaurant called The Station. It looks like it's in an old gas station, one of those old vintage service stations. It serves gyros and a bunch of shrimp and burgers. So yeah, it's called The Station. So you got The Station and Main Street Diner. Cross over here. Willow Hill Marketplace. Now, by the way, this is the corner of Main Street and Madison Street. Oh, hobby shop. Okay, hobby shop. You come over here and they have collectibles. They have collectible muscle cars, trains, tractor trailers, truck trailers, McLarens, all type of stuff. Star Trek stuff. Pretty cool. I like to see little mom and pop stores in the area. Roxy Theater, as I mentioned earlier, built in 1938. Donated to the past, present, and future citizens and city of Franklin and Simpson County by Leon and Lassie Page, Brad and Nancy Gregory, and Glenn and Wanda Gammons in 2012. Shout out to them. It's one of those old lodges right there. Grand Lodge. It's a real estate company right here. And check out this mural of these flowers. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. It says, that's an Instagram handle for Kate is Kinder. Kate is Kinder. www.katekinder.com. So the artist of this mural is Kate Kinder. Did a really beautiful job at the side of this building. Very colorful. You know, I love art. Of course, you have this right here. Are these called dandelions? I always wonder what these are. What are these things called? I always forget what the name of these type of flowers called. But you blow them. You make a wish. I think you blow them. I be forgetting the name of these things. It's something. It's right at the tip of my tongue. I think it is a dandelion though. But yeah, shout out to FranklinWallflowers.com as well. Really nice mural. Oh, look at this. I don't know. This is like a mannequin of Staff Sergeant Jeff Wilkerson of the U.S. Army. Salute to Staff Sergeant Jeff Wilkerson. I believe this is done in tribute to him. This is Staff Sergeant Jeff Wilkerson, a photo of him. And this is a mannequin resembling him. And they have this old school TV set right over here as well. And it looks like a bunch of images from back in the day of Franklin. You know, photographs, like they say, speak a million, they tell a million stories. A picture speaks 1,000 words. Gallery on the square. So they even have an art gallery over here as well. So Franklin is another one of those very artsy cities. Very nice. Mustard Seed Market. They have the America 250 shirts, celebrating America's 250th anniversary. Franklin Sporting Goods. Lucy Lou's Dog Grooming and Spa. Millhouse Cafe. A lot of nice little restaurants, local spots. I wonder what's down this way. Simpson County Clerk Office. Check this out. They even have the dumpster. They even deck out the dumpster. They even put artwork on that. That's sick. And it says peace, love, hearts, flowers, peace sign, and the butterflies. And this is by Gina, the artist known as Gina. Shout out to Gina. They also have the rainbow right there. License plate that says grooving. So it kind of gives you hippie vibes, you know. And I believe the sheriff's office, a bunch of like government, like county buildings. Yeah, a bunch of county buildings are down this way. What are those things called? Those like mills or something for the farmers. Now the Boys and Girls Club over there. Across over there. A lot of interesting buildings over this way. Right here at this historic building in downtown Franklin, Kentucky. Has a red brick exterior, ornate black ironwork. So you see the ironwork right there, and a 2-story wooden porch. You see the wood, flooring. It's a really historic building right here in downtown Franklin. It sits by the bank, Great American Bank, and right across from the University of Kentucky Co-op Extension Service. And also a farmer's market sits next to that building. A transmission shop right there. Check this out. This beautiful artwork right here. Welcome to our Franklin. And there's some information about this art piece, by the way. It's called, again, Welcome to our Franklin, Kentucky. This mural was painted by many caring hands of the Franklin Simpson community and artist Bob Gregory in May 2018. The project was facilitated by artist Andy Rudloff and made possible through funding from Franklin Simpson Renaissance and the Kentucky Arts Council. So the Kentucky Arts Council and the National Endowment of Art had basically sponsored this mural. You know, there's also some local nonprofits who had their hand in it as well. But Andy Rudloff and Bob Gregory are the ones who put this together. So shout out to those artists. Bob Gregory, May 2018. I want to get back to the courthouse because there's a couple things I missed over about the courthouse. Matter of fact, let me go over here real quick. Some Masonic building right here. Brad's Barbershop, okay. Got your local barbershop right here downtown. Robert Taylor CFA, Annabelle and Ash Children's Boutique, okay. This is what I want to get as well. WFKN 92.3 WFKN radio station right downtown Franklin. I got a thrift store down here too, Second Chance Thrift Store. Okay. Looks like they got some nice odds and ends in there. To all you thrifters out there. There's plenty of shopping down here in Franklin. That's for sure. Plenty of shopping. Back over here by the courthouse, Simpson County Courthouse, and is in front of this gazebo is this sculpture called Melvin. Now, Melvin was constructed and dedicated in 2018. These horseshoes that were made to compose this sculpture were donated by Jennifer and Paul Eastridge. And the sculpture itself was constructed by the FSHS Welding Department. That's the Franklin Simpson High School Welding Department, which was instructed by Jeremy Lovell. So shout out to the FSHS Welding Department and Jeremy Lovell, and also Jennifer and Paul Eastridge for the donations of the horseshoe. So this is a really nice masterpiece of an art that sits right over here by the courthouse of Simpson County. And let me also make sure I get the fact that this bad boy has some shades on. Yeah, that's really dope. You know, I love spotting out unique art pieces when I come and do these city and town walks. There's also this marker that gives you some background on how Franklin came to be. Now, when legislature formed county, it authorized commission to purchase site for county seat. 3 owners of land sought to sell site. Water source essential. William Hudspeth dug a well here. As you can see right here, this is the well. or at least a replica of it, but it was dry. He hauled water secretly to fill well and sold 62 acres. Water primed well, and it was used many years. Town surveyed in 1819 and made county seat by legislature on November 1820. And the county was named for Captain John Simpson, one of the 9 officers killed at the Battle of River Raisin, January 22nd, 1813, for whom Kentucky counties named, fought under Mad Anthony Wayne Battle of Fallen Timbers in 1794, and settled in Shelby County, Kentucky, and was also Speaker of Kentucky House and Congressman, and was also, the county was formed from Allen, Logan, and Warren. The cut-off 3-mile strip along Logan County added in 1869. So just to give you a little background of how Franklin and Simpson County came to be. Here's a historical marker for Carolyn Kahn Moore, a lifelong advocate of parental involvement in children's education. And she worked for various educational organizations, serving a VP of Kentucky Congress of Parents and Teachers. After completing her term in the Senate, she took a job with Democratic National Headquarters, and she died on January 14th, 1986, and buried in the Green Lawn Cemetery. So RIP to Carolyn Kahn Moore, and salute to her for her dedication in children's education. That's always a good thing. Always a good thing. I want to come back over here though, because I wanted to get this other like a sculpture, if you will. And this is also something that the Franklin Simpson High School welding department put together. This sculpture of with a bunch of, it's like a tree. It almost looks like a tree, but it's a bunch of chains with a bunch of padlocks on them. And also right here at the pedestal of it, you have names etched into the concrete, etched into the cement. That's really dope. That's really dope. So this is the welding department at Franklin Simpson High School. So not only did they do this, they did the horseshoe monument we saw not too long ago. So shouts out to that welding department. And it's good to know that even the locals, the local high schools, the communities can chip in to make the city a beautiful place to hang out. Check this out. Now, this is also the site where country music icons Johnny Cash and June Carter were married on March 1st, 1968, 1 week after Cash proposed on stage in Ontario, Canada. Now, the couple came to Franklin because in Kentucky, they could purchase a license and marry on the same day, whereas their home state of Tennessee required a longer waiting period. The wedding became national news. Oh, wow, interesting. So I wonder if Kentucky is still that way. You can purchase a marriage license and get married on that same day. That's pretty interesting. So it was like, nah, we can't wait to tie that knot. Tennessee, y'all tripping. Kentucky say, y'all come on over here. You get wedded out here, and everything's all good. Shout out to Cash and Carter. But yeah, that concludes downtown Franklin. But there's a couple more things to show you guys before we wrap up this vlog. So stay tuned. Over here on Washington Street, downtown Franklin, Kentucky. Wanted to get some of Washington Street, including this classic barbershop, Stewart's Barbershop, 1985, when it was established. So I'm gonna make my way and down College Street. Got this building right here for sublease, 4,000 square foot building. It's be a nice place to lease out. Perhaps for a thrift store. Maybe a little mini museum or something. Well, they do have a couple. They do have a lot of museums down here, or a couple of museums rather, including the one across the street, Simpson County History Center, where they keep a lot of history, genealogy, things like that. And you have this historical building, which is the Simpson County Historical Society, where they keep the archives pertaining to Simpson County, Kentucky's history. So it's an archives building, and it's an old building. We're gonna read up on the history shortly. It was an old stone jail. But before we read up on that, this building was restored back in 1992, partially funded by Simpson County Fiscal Court, Kenneth Chico Harper, the county judge executive at that time. So this is the front of the old stone jail, which again functions as the Simpson County Historical Society in the modern day. Now, this building, the old stone jail, was Simpson County's fourth jail. The first one was being built in 1819. This one was constructed in 1879 and was used for civilian prisoners until 1986. This unique style of old jail is based on a medieval fortress, and the design combines psychological deference to crime and provided an escape-proof enclosure. Yeah, so they definitely had to make it to where prisoners could not get out. And it does have that medieval look to it, like a castle or something. And the jailer's residence was built in Greek Revival style, circa 1835. It is one of the oldest buildings in Franklin and was used as a jail from 1860 to 1879. It housed the Confederate prisoners during the Civil War who left graffiti on the walls, and this building was converted to the jailer's residence after the jail was built, 1879. So that's really cool that they maintained this old prison and in this form and restored it, especially considering it was built way back in the late 1800s. And they have a garden on the side as well, where they have a garden club who comes out and maintains the garden. It's really nice. They also do some paintings on the sidewalk right here. It's really nice how they landscape and garden these grounds, really nicely maintained. You have the butterfly right there on the side of it. Really nice. Daisies and dandelions, all type of nice looking flowers right here on the premises. Sits right across again from the Simpson County Genealogy Center and this church right over here at the corner. Right here, guys, is the Octagon Hall Museum right here in Franklin, Kentucky. Now, unfortunately, today, it looks like it's closed. Grounds are closed, so this is about as far as I can get on the grounds. But that is the building right there. That is literally built in shape like an octagon, 8-sided, very uniquely structured house. And here's some information though about the Octagon Hall. It's an antebellum landmark built by Andrew Jackson Caldwell, an ardent advocate of the Southern cause. Many Confederate soldiers found shelter here, and bricks were made, wood cut and finished. Stone was quarried on the place, and the house erected by Caldwell and his men has 3 floors with 4 large rooms, a hall and stairway. Large basement provided hiding place. So they had a large basement where a lot of the soldiers would hide, slaves or whatever would hide. And the bricks, so basically, you know, the bricks and everything like that, this was mostly built on slave labor. And they also have on these grounds a bunch of unmarked graves, you know, where a lot of soldiers and slaves did where they perished and where they're buried. But it's really very uniquely designed home, designed building, the Octagon Hall Museum right here in Franklin. And for the final act, we come to this log house right here, right directly off of I-65 here in Franklin, Kentucky. And this was the birthplace of Thomas Obadiah Chisholm, or T.O. Chisholm for short. He was born in this log house in the Lake Spring community and taught at a local school at the age of 16 and became associate editor of Franklin Favorite. Later edited the Pentecostal Herald, Louisville. Under the influence of evangelist Henry Clay Morrison, founder of Asbury College, Kentucky, he was ordained the Methodist ministry and served in nearby Scottsville. So this is the first time I learned about T.O. Chisholm, pretty interesting fella. He was a noted hymn writer. His unstable health caused him to work various from journalism to insurance to evangelistic pursuits. He wrote poems throughout the years. Some 800 were published and many set to music. With musician William Runyon, Chisholm wrote Great Is Thy Faithfulness in 1923. With C.H. Loudon, he wrote Living for Jesus in 1917. Now these hymns continue to provide inspiration and comfort. So shout out to T.O. Chisholm. He was a poet who wrote many poems. Many of those have been transitioned into songs. And this here log cabin is where he was born. It used to function as a welcome center for Franklin, given its location off the highway. Being that Franklin is the first town that you'll encounter off of I-65 heading northbound. But yeah, welcome to Kentucky. Simpson County veterans who honorably served. Judge Executive Jim Henderson, May 30th, 2002. And we're about to check out this beautiful artwork right here. Some murals. I actually saw a sign that pointed to these murals. I didn't know anything about it prior to this visit. But here's some murals. That's basically a tourist attraction. It's by Carolyn Lanham, The Concept by Dan Ware. So shout out to Carolyn Lanham for the artwork and Dan Ware for the concept. This was composed in 2014. And this kind of gives an illustration of Franklin in a nutshell. Of course, you have the thoroughbred horses. Kentucky's known for its horse racing. You have the golf right here. Golfer right at Kenny Perry's Country Creek. Franklin even has a drive-in theater. It's pretty interesting. And this is where we are right now. It's an illustration of the log cabin we just visited alongside the highway. It's an exact depiction of that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. More illustrations by Casey Lanham. You have the Kendall Company Polkin plant. You have the railroad, the Louisville and Nashville Railroad, that's delivering the supplies. We all know how important the railroads are to the industry. And I believe this is this might be an illustration of downtown Franklin. Frosty Freeze, grilled hot dogs. Looks like a local statement. Some local companies, possibly manufacturers, Powder and Brumfield, Alliance, Link. There goes the county courthouse, so that has to be downtown. This is Franklin, the Friendly City, Kentucky's #1 city, selected by the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. Pretty cool. They even have illustration of an article from June Carter and Johnny Cash exchanging vows. So this must have happened right here in Franklin. This is the Franklin Favorite publication. The Dog Wagon Palace lunch car. You have a graduate right here. And again, this is by Casey Lanham. This one was in 2013. This looks like integrated school right there. Integrated sports, local Wildcats, their basketball team. Goes a sister right there. It goes a football. And it looks like a speech is delivered right here by this brother. So this is Franklin Simpson High School, the local high school. It goes their band. The majorette right there. School buses. This is very thorough. Simpson County High School. This is dope. The Franklin Simpson High School. So I wonder if did they consolidate? Because it says Franklin Simpson High School. It's pretty interesting. Donnell's Groceries. So of course, this was during the early 20th century, perhaps late 19th century, where this was commonplace in America. A bunch of gatherings in the small towns. It's really dope right here. Colonial times right there. You see the horses. So it looks like Casey Lanham has done murals dating back to 2011, 2012, and they're all right here. You have the sharecroppers, the farmers. More artwork by Lanham, really nice right there. The railroads, this one was done back in 2009. You have the horses. Dude right there with the rifle. Louisville, Nashville train pulling up. Locomotives. See the smoke coming out the locomotive. Very nice. And this looks like the wartime. This looks like perhaps Civil War. I want to say the Civil War. Wow. So they literally give you an illustration of history. So I kind of went backwards. If I would have started from left to right, it would have been chronological, but it's all good. It's all good. Here's some markers with some information. War clouds. This is where Confederate guerrillas raided Louisville and Nashville freight train on an April morning in 1864. Nearby is Octagon Hall, an 8-sided brick home built by slaves. Both rebel and Union troops camped on the grounds, and the cupola was used by spies. Very interesting. So they basically, I think these markers give insight on what these murals are about. And this is also where two famous men were born. You had Jim Bowie, who invented the Bowie knife. He died at the Battle of the Alamo in Texas. Alexander Majors was co-founder of the Pony Express and hauled freight all over the West for the U.S. Cavalry. Okay, so that's who we saw right here. I believe that's, let me go back over here. It's David Bowie right here. Or Jim Bowie, excuse me, not David Bowie. Jim Bowie right here on the right with the Bowie knife. And I believe that's the Alamo in San Antonio that he's standing in front of. And this is Alexander Majors. responsible for the Pony Express. You can see the ponies right there. So that's really cool that they have, they give you some perspective, or they give you some context rather, of these murals. Farming ways was the way of life in days gone by. Harvesting wheat with a steam-powered thresher, labors at work under the hot sun, and corn and tobacco fields, rolls of tobacco speared on sticks and gathered into shocks rather. So that's how they did their farming. High noon for a new century. Surrounding the 1882 courthouse and its clock tower are Franklin's devious first well, the fire that destroyed an earlier courthouse, the jail and the jailer's quarters, portraits of Congressman I.H. Goodnight and his wife Ella Hoy. So there goes right over here. This is Ella Hoy on the left and I.H. Goodnight right there. And there goes the well that was just mentioned. And that's when the courthouse burned down. That's the courthouse on fire. I overlooked that earlier. So this is a courthouse that was built in 1882 with the cupola. So we saw that earlier in person. But yeah, I believe I'm gonna get some context on that right there on the Franklin Simpson High School. One says Simpson County High School. So basically between 1940 and 2000, city and county schools consolidated in the 1940s and integrated in the 1960s. Actress Annie Potts was a cheerleader in the early 1970s, and Dr. David Patterson was valedictorian a decade later. School teams have won many championships. So they won multiple championships. So I believe that's Miss Potts right there, the cheerleader. But yeah. And there's a little history about Franklin's industrial manufacturing time. The road to prosperity is lined with signs announcing a boom in manufacturing. Franklin's half-century of success in recruiting good-wage factory jobs has mom and dad punching the clock and more people eating out. And that was during the 50s to 2000s. And that's when manufacturing was at its peak. And that was the American way of life. Unfortunately, there was a lot of deindustrialization. A lot of factories closed down. Prices went up. And, you guys know the rest. Led to ultimate poverty in a lot of cases. But this is a mural or a marker rather, before I go. Captain Thomas F. Mansell Jr., who was born right here in Franklin, Kentucky. In 1922, graduated Male High School in Louisville. And he joined the Army Air Corps in 1942 and graduated flight school in 1943. And during World War II, Mansell, assigned to the 440th Troop Carrier Group, was also part of the Distinguished Flying Cross. And he was recruited to the fighter squadron 165th of the Kentucky Air National Guard. And while on a training flight, him and three other P-51Ds Mustangs were directed by Flight Tower at Godman Field to pursue an unidentified flying object. While in pursuit of the object, he died in a plane crash near this site. The story of Mansell's death while chasing UFO made headlines across the country. Intense military investigation of incident became part of the Project Sign, later Blue Book, the military's investigations into UFOs. Much speculation and conjecture has been written about this incident, and it's still uncertain what Mansell was pursuing at the time of the crash. Mansell is the first flight casualty of the Kentucky Air National Guard and buried at Zachary Taylor's National Cemetery in Louisville, Kentucky. So shouts out and RIP to Thomas Mansell Jr. Wow. And a lot of those were covert operations too. When you talk about UFOs, and these Project Blue Books and all these, you know, these were code names. But yeah, that brings us to the end of this vlog right here in Franklin, Kentucky. Thank you guys for tapping into this vlog with P9 once again. If you made it this far, make sure you tap that like button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. And once you hit that bell, make sure you tap all. That way you get notified every time I drop a new vlog or live stream. With that in mind, good people, thanks again for watching. See you guys on the next one. Peace.